Welcome, Mr. Ali Hamidi. Ali Hamidi works for Team Corda. I will ask him a few questions about rigs and which places, what kind of rigs does he use. Depends of type of waters and presentation sets. So maybe we can start from weedy waters. Can you say something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So weedy waters, a really good approach is to use like the naked chod.
First bit is the no trace system, because I'm fishing it naked chod style. This is the brainchild of our product development wizard, young Tom Dove. It's just a nice little bead that will fall off there. Obviously you don't want to be leaving any sort of tether rigs out there, and the great thing about this is that that bead will fall off the line and the ring swivel on the chod can just pass over that with consummate ease. So I'll just pull that back over. This is how I like to use it. Probably about 1.5 inches in height. And you'll notice these are the main differences. The crimp to form the loop, okay? I actually like the movement either way. And the other difference is that instead of just the rig ring, I've got a little micro ring swivel on the D. Again, I just think that gives it total movement and flexibility. You know, these big fish are coming down and I want it to be able to twist and catch them.
Small pop-up like this that runs along the line, and it can settle over the top of any sort of weed. The lead is further forward, so the lead penetrates into the weed. Normally you have like a lead which can detach from the line, okay, and then this will find its depth. You have a nice slow sinking pop-up, yeah, so it will sit on the lake bed. I use this setup on Gigantica, which is everyone said in Gigantica pop-ups don't work, but that's rubbish. People, the fish are feeding all the time on different levels in weed, okay, and you can really get into that thinking, you know, the way the fish move and take bits of food, put their noses into the weed, get excited, and you have baits at different levels. So it's always good to either use a helicopter presentation, so the rig can move up the line, so you have the top bead higher up based on how deep the weed is, and then it will settle nicely. So that's a good one. The other one I really like in weed is solid bags.
The first two things you need to know is I like to keep the length quite short, normally between 4 to 5 inches, sometimes shorter, depending on the situation and the bait I'm putting in, but always with a soft braided hook link. You know, a lot of people I've seen putting mono in there and coated hook links, and the problem is that'll coil, you'll get rigidity, and it will just look like a bag of spanners, to be honest. So Supernatural in 18 pounds or 25 pound is my chosen braid that I like to use. So what I do, take a captor curve out of the pack, a size 4 I've been using, certainly in the last year. After watching the underwater film, I noticed that carp weren't put off by a big hook. In fact, it helped with the hooking efficiency. I saw Dan using a size 4 on a D-rig, a size 4 curve, and it nailed one of the smaller fish that came in the swim, and that was all the convincing that I needed. I tie a knotless knot to the captor curve. Once I've done that, what would normally form the hair has been cut off quite simply because it's just a tag end. To that, I just slide over a little bit of shrink tube, only about 4 mils worth. I'm not a big shrink tube fan, I don't have lots of it, and the curve shank already has great hooking efficiency. And you'll notice there's only a couple of mil protruding there once it's melted down. Once I've done that, I slide on a little ring swivel. Really like the addition of these. It was something that my mate Gaz Fairham showed me years ago, and it's really served me well, both in solid bags and just standard pop-up rigs. And then quite simply just put on a hook bead. You'll see loads of these on the market. Just pick one that doesn't slide around the shank. I like these ones, they stay in position quite well, and it means it can withstand a hard cast, and it'll also obviously stay fine in a solid bag, so you're not putting any pressure on it. Once that's on there, note the position of it. It's sort of level with the centre of the point. Not quite as far down as the point and not quite as high up as the barb.
So the lead, everything goes inside the bag. Nice ground bait. You can get some stems where you can actually blow some air into them to slow the duration that the bag takes to hit the bottom, and then you can put, you know, lots of nice exciting baits inside the solid bag. Little pop-up just above it, goo, ground bait that moves, pellets. Fish love it. One really great method. I use it a lot on thinking tackle because it's so good. If I use it on thinking tackle, you know it's good because there's so much pressure when you're filming, you have to catch. So you don't use anything for commercial reason, you use it because there's a camera team behind you that costs a lot of money every day, so it has to work. So that's weed. There'll be two good setups for weed.
Okay, and what about the silky waters?
Silty water, yeah. So silty waters, you can be, depends on the type of silt. Okay. If the silt's really deep, then you'd use like that the chod system, yeah. But you can use that as the lead system, and then you can use a bottom bait rig or a wafter rig like the IQD rig. You can put almost any hook link on it, okay? Because the idea is the lead penetrates and the hook link slides down and finds its depth.
After the lead.
Yeah. The lead goes in, and then your line is coming down like this, and as it sinks, you know, if you have if you have a rig that's tied to the lead, and it goes in like an inline lead, penetrates in, and it's kicking your hook link out. You know, it's taking your hook link in with it into the silt. Yeah. So you want the lead to go in and your hook link to stay out. Similar to weed. Yeah. They can both. When you think as a fisherman about these bottoms, you have to make sure the fish can get the bait in its mouth. If you do that and it's not tangled, then you have every chance of success. Yeah, that's all you have to think about. Does this rig penetrate into the weed, or am I able to present above it or above the silt? If you can do that, then it's simple. Yeah.
What about gravel? What kind of
gravel? You can use anything, you know, because it's hard. Yeah, it's not taking your bait into it. Okay, so you can get away with inline leads, leg clips, chod rig, whatever you want. You know, gravel is like fishing on the carpet. You know, it's hard. It's easy. So I have for that situation really the feeding situation, the food that I'm putting in the swim dictates the rig that I use. Okay, if I'm putting out balls of ground bait or balls of pellet or something for small fish, then I might fish a solid bag. Okay, in amongst it, so it's like little balls. If I'm spodding, again I might use a solid bag with a very short hook link. Okay. If I'm fishing boilies and tiger nuts, spread in a big area where fish are moving, like like fast cows in a field, then I might use like a leg clip with the really famous IQD rig now that Danny used so well on Underwater 7, because fish are moving, bait to bait to bait, bang, and they pick yours up, and very aggressive system that hooks them very quickly.
Suppose that I invited you for a 5-day session and the end of the May, and I sent you by email a map with the beeps of a lake, and I told you that in the lake are carps in range between 10 and 15 kilos. How will you prepare for that kind of session? What will you think of? What kind of rigs will you use? What kind of feeding, baiting types?
Yeah, right. I mean, when I go to any lake, because you've got to remember when we go filming sometimes, we go to a lake for the first time. I have an idea what methods might have worked, who might have caught something on this rig or that rig, but really, until I arrive and I, with the marker float or lead, feel the lake bed that I'm on, similar to the question you asked before, yeah? Then I decide what to use, okay? Because I'm confident enough to go with an open mind, you know, not worrying too much about the history or what gets caught, because to me a carp is a carp, you know. If you have a attractive food that they want to eat and you feed in an aggressive way to get the fish excited, then whether I'm in Japan, in Poland, in England, on a lake that's 400 foot deep or a lake that's 5 foot deep, then the methods, the armoury can work on all of them. The biggest thing when I go to a new lake is location, just finding where the carp are. So I would look on, without knowing the venue, I would look to see where the southwesterly wind can blow. Obviously this area also, when an easterly blows, sometimes away from it as well, where the cold wind blows. So the fish generally, they have preferences for these areas on lakes. The wind comes, where the southwesterly wind comes in, the fish naturally like it. May time, fish are it's warmed up. They've been thinking about spawning, so the shallow areas of lakes are really good. Where the nice warm shallow areas, you can go to them. But it's going with an open mind and looking. Any information before would be interesting, but really for me, it's once I arrive at the lake and see it.
So can we consider an opposite situation? You called me and you told me that I can reserve a place for 5-day session in Gigantica Lake.
Do you mean, when you say a place, do you mean the spot?
The spot, yes.
The swim as well? Oh, okay. Yeah. Right, okay. So if you were to reserve a place, if I was to reserve you a place on Gigantica, I'd put you on a swim called Coast Point. Yeah. Danny's fishing that this year on the DVD. It's a swim that goes into the centre of the lake. Okay. So what that means, because it's quite a big lake, yeah. I work in acres, not hectares. So it's 30 acres. You can do the calculation. This swim goes out into the lake a little bit, so you're able to reach more the middle than any other swim. Okay. Now, if you go in the spring, yeah, then the fish, because it's a deep lake, the top of the lake is warming up, yeah. So zigs are really good, yeah. So the fish are up high. Then as summer progresses, they spawn, and it gets warmer and warmer. Then the bottom of the lake is really warm, yeah. So these fish start to feed hard on the bottom, yeah. So the top is always changing, but the bottom is staying warmer and warmer. So August, September, fishing on the bottom becomes very, very good, yeah. I'd think about that. And then when you fish on the bottom, the key is not to fish this bit and that bit and cast too much, is to get a nice area, maybe 2 areas, maybe one at shorter range and then one at longer range, and just bait them consistently, fish them. IQD rig again. I used pop-ups last time over some of the light weed. There's so many options, but the key is composure. And watch this DVD. It's all on there. Yeah.